Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm Ray Flowers. Yes, I'm wearing a beanie. Yes, it's cold outside. But at the same time, my heart is very, very warm. Why? Spring training has begun. Pitchers and catchers have reported. We're no longer just reviewing 2009. We're actually getting into 2010. What's going on in the field will start to be something we talk more and more about here at BaseballGuys.com. So let's get into the first report after pitchers and catchers have actually showed up and started their work. Eric Gagne hasn't had a team sign him yet. He's been rumored to be going to a couple places. Looks like the Rockies are in the lead for his services and actually have extended a contract according to reports. No information yet on what the deal is. It'll certainly be a minor league deal with an invite to camp. Gagne will look to reestablish himself as a major league pitcher. He'll obviously never be the Cy Young force that he was for the Dodgers, but there's still some that believe he can get major league hitters out. Looks like the Rockies will give him the chance to do so. Next pitcher on the list is Ted Lilly. Now, Lilly had some concerns about his arm. Some people thought he might miss May because of the surgery he had. He's come back strong, looking very good in that respect, but now he's got a little bit of an issue with his knee. He's going for an MRI later this week. No one seems overly concerned about this in the Cubs camp, but keep an eye on it. The arm combined with the knee issues might hold him back a little bit at the start of the season. Brad Lidge was a pitcher that was held back last season. His ERA was over 7, his whip was 1.8. He was terrible. His knee hurt, his elbow hurt. He had surgery on both in the offseason. In addition to all that, apparently he was also tipping his pitches. Being a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, batters knowing what pitch was coming made it very easy for them to hit him last year. That might explain some of it. Some of it might also just be terrible luck. His batting average on balls in play was really, really high. Part of it was just bad pitching too. If he's healthy, there's some thought that he might miss the first couple weeks of the season rehabbing from those injuries, but once back, if he's healthy, if he's throwing hard and he's no longer tipping his pitches, Lidge can once again be a dominating force in the ninth inning. But those are a lot of ifs that have to be proven before we can just automatically assume he'll return to that level that he once possessed in the ninth inning. The Blue Jays got a myriad of arms in their rotation that are coming back off surgery, coming back off injury. Sean Markham, Dustin McGowan, and Jesse Lidge are at the top of that list. All three of them have thrown the first couple days here of camp for the Jays. All of them are improving. Markham probably ready to start the year. Lidge is hoping to come back sometime in maybe June or July. Markham, a little bit uncertain at this point. He's hoping that shoulder of his that caused a lot of concern. In fact, there were some doubts whether or not he'd ever pitch in the majors again. It's responded very well. He's throwing without pain. Look for him to be a really big boost to the club if they can get him back. In fact, if they can get any of the three back to remotely the levels they were pitching at prior to their surgeries, be a great boon for Blue Jay staff that really needs some depth behind all those youngsters they run out there. Brian Roberts. There were early reports where they had kidney stones. Now, I've never had kidney stones, but I've heard from a few people that they're not very pleasant. Secondary reports turn out to dispel the original kidney stone idea and say that it's back spasms he's suffering for. But regardless, it's an issue that's going to probably hold him back for a couple days. Not a big time concern. Don't knock him down your draft boards in the fantasy game. Roberts will continue to be as productive as pretty much any second baseman in the league, not named Ian Kinsler or Chase Utley. In fact, Brian Roberts is the only player in baseball history with 100 runs, 30 steals, and 40 doubles in 3 straight seasons. Always underlooked and always productive. Don't discount Brian Roberts at this point. Just monitor his situation. Wade Davis, down in Tampa Bay. The good news with Davis, who's been vastly underrated so far in fantasy drafts, there's a lot of leagues, mixed leagues, where he's not even being drafted at all. The Rays came out and did something a little bit different in a statement today, and that is that they said, hey, look, we're going to let Wade Davis go this year. If that means 180, 200 innings, we're fine with that. The Rays have a very strict system they employ with their young pitchers, gradually building up their innings pitched, etc. With Davis, they think they've gotten to the point where they can just turn him loose. He's a big physical guy, takes care of himself, has a big repertoire of pitches. If he does get to that 180, 200 inning pitch limit this year, he can be a boon to fantasy owners. Don't forget about him late in a fantasy draft. If he's still sitting out there, Wade Davis is a name to remember. Cliff Lee had an issue with his foot, had some minor surgery on that. It set him back a little bit at the start of camp here. He's hoping and expecting to be able to throw next Wednesday. So only about a week behind schedule here if it comes down to the plan that he expects to follow with the Mariners. Mariners are really hoping that he obviously can form a great 1-2 punch with Felix Hernandez. Monitor him like we do with all of the pitchers early in camp, but it doesn't look like that footage is going to hold him back. He should be fine for his first start of the season. And finally, another pitcher, one that has much, much worse news, is Joel Hanrahan of the Pirates. The Pirates brought in Octavio Dotel to close for them this season, the thought being that Hanrahan would then be the setup guy. His overall numbers last year weren't very good, but if you look at his production in the second half, you'll notice that Hanrahan actually had a .96 ERA over his final 29 games. Excellent production with the strikeout an inning. Unfortunately, he's got an issue with his elbow. It's actually a flexor pronator strain. I'm not quite sure what that is, but apparently it's not good. Specter of surgery has obviously been raised. He's actually going to see noted surgeon James Andrews this week. That's not good. We'll hope that there's a positive report and surgery isn't necessary, but at this point, it's not looking very good. You have to think that since the elbow was bothering him at the end of last season, an entire offseason of rest didn't help the situation much. There's probably a pretty good chance he goes into the ninth. Big issue for the Pirates. They'll have to come up with another arm to throw in the 8th inning in front of Littell. Again, I'm Ray Flowers, baseballguys.com. Thanks for joining me on the Around the Horn, and I'll talk to y'all again soon.